Good evening and welcome to the Metaphysical Bible Hangout. I'm Reverend Sherri James. I am Senior Minister of Understanding Principles for Better Living Church. And this is the Bible Hangout, but it's also our Bible study for Up Church. And we're in the midst of a prayer series, and I'm very excited about that. And I'll just jump right in with the PowerPoint presentation. And so the question that we're going to be talking about tonight is, have you struggled with being okay with wanting more? Have you struggled, maybe I should say to be okay. Have you struggled to be okay with wanting more? And tonight we're going to talk about the prayer of increase. Now, we have been working with the Catherine Ponder text, which is this book, The Prospering Power of Prayer, and we are on the last chapter, which starts on page 57, the prayer of increase. And so that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Ray says, thank you for clarifying the difference between greed and desire in your blog. You're welcome. Thank you very much. I want to dispel that because so many we spend a lot of time, and I am not immune to this at all. As I was writing today and working on today's lesson, I realized that there's still elements in me from just how I was raised to believe what I was raised to believe spiritually, where I still struggle with wanting more and being okay with wanting more and not thinking that I'm a bad person or that I'm greedy for wanting more. And so we're going to talk about all of that tonight and being able to discern the difference between greed and desire, and really how to take your desires to God in prayer so that you can, because sometimes you do have a little bit of I don't like the word greed because it has such a negative connotation, but how to separate separate the greed from the things that you want, because every want has a genuine spiritual aspiration behind it. But the greed part has to do with how you've learned how to satisfy that want. And so we're going to get into that tonight. So I'm excited about this lesson, and I hope that it's healing for me and that it is healing for you too. Our outline is pretty straightforward. We've got an opening prayer. We're going to talk about why prayer matters. And then we're going to look at the fact that desire is good and that desire does not equal greed. And then we'll get to some practical stuff, which is how do you manage your desire for more? And then Q&A. And of course, you can always ask, I hope that you will, because it helps me guide the discussion, but I hope that you will ask for questions throughout the lesson. But there is a period at the end where it's just, straight Q&A. Why the Bible Hangout and why every week and why free? And I share this because someone may be finding the Bible Hangout for the first time this week. And the reason that I do this, and the reason that I do this for free, is because I think that this teaching is transformational, that it has the ability to change your life. It's changed mine. I see it as an ongoing process. I don't think that there's a sort of get it, got it, and you're done with it. I think that it is a lifelong expansion, and that you're constantly being saved from your old self. You're constantly being redeemed and resurrected from your old way of thinking. And I don't mean old way of thinking like, say, coming up in the traditional church and moving into new thought, but they're just, no matter who you are and where you come from, there are old habits, old ideas that you have to die to in order for the new you to be born. And so this process is ongoing. And I want to be an agent in supporting your change and in supporting your growth. And I want this Bible Hangout to be of service to humankind. I think that there are probably boys and girls, men and women in other parts of the world who don't have this kind of teaching, and I want to be an agent for bringing it out there and making it available. And so that's why I do it every week. Or I should say that's one of the reasons, but every week I expound on that and share with you why this is important to me and why, no matter what's going on in my life, good, bad, or indifferent, I show up on Thursday night. And whether I'm traveling or not, it doesn't matter. This is where I am on Thursday nights. The Bible Hangout is free to you, but it does cost money to bring it to you. And if you are moved by this teaching and this has helped you, if you would consider making a gift, and a gift of any size is greatly appreciated. And I thank you in advance for anything you decide to share. The way that this series worked, we've added a third part to what we've been doing in the Bible Hangout. So there's always been the blog and there's always been the Bible Hangout, and they always sort of mirror one another. But we've added a mastermind group as a part of this series. And if you have never participated in a mastermind group, this is a wonderful opportunity for you to experience it. This is different. If you come from like the business world, you probably have heard of mastermind groups to help people grow their business, and that's a little different. It's the same principle where two or three or more gather, there I am in the midst of them is the spiritual principle that it's built on. But the way that we're doing it is according to the mastermind prayer, which is that we come together and we pray as a collective body. And then we take time to speak our individual desires, and then we support each other with spiritual affirmation for those desires. And the testimonies that have been coming off of the mastermind prayer call have been amazing. Like literally I get emails from people that say, I couldn't wait until next week. I had to tell you what happened, like within 24 hours of like the call. So it's been a remarkable experience. We've been meeting now for a month on Wednesdays at 6 o'clock. Anyone is available to join. So if you are interested, you can simply email me at sherri@revsherri.com, and I would be happy to add you to the email distribution and have you be a part of the call. And also, if you are the kind of person who's a little bit shy and doesn't really feel comfortable expressing what it is that you want, you can come and simply just be in the prayer energy. There are people who have sent me emails who said, I didn't speak this prayer request aloud, but it was as if I did because the prayer I needed answered was answered. So the energy itself is vibrant and vital and transformational. And so even if you just dial in and listen in and just be in the prayer energy, that in itself is enough to have your prayer answered. Andrea says, I missed my mastermind group last night, but it has been a blessing. It has. Y'all have been amazing, and I'm super grateful for everything that it has given. And saying good night, good evening, not good night like goodbye, but good evening to Quintina, Naomi, and Eve. Good to see you guys. Well, I guess I can't see you, but you know what I mean. Welcome. I am the pastor. That's an affirmation as well as a statement of reality. The pastor of Understanding Principles for Better Living Church, otherwise known as Up Church. And we are located at 600 West Queen Street in Inglewood, California. And I tell you, with all of the wonderful challenges that come up, I have to reaffirm that I am the pastor of this church. Our services are at 1 o'clock every Sunday, and we would be so honored if you joined us. We have such a good time. Last Sunday, we did our Flip the Church, and I sang, and that was just part of the Flip the Church experience. And I was already nervous about singing in the first place, but then Reverend Della showed up, and it was like, what? So the fact that I committed to sing, and then all of a sudden I'm singing in front of Reverend Della, it was like, this, I didn't bargain for this, God. So anyway, we had a great time. We're actually starting a new series, which I'm really excited about. Big, Bold Moves. This is our flyer for it. Big, Bold Moves. A 21 days of courageous choices. I can't read backwards. 21 days of courageous choices. And so lesson sermons at 1 o'clock, daily challenges that you can find at upchurch.org. This is a 3-part sermon series and a 21-day challenge. So big, bold moves. So I encourage you to come. This is the other flyer. We got like 2 flyers for it. So anyway, come be a part of it. We would love to have you. We'd be delighted to serve you. The scripture for this series is whatever you ask for in prayer with faith, you will receive. Matthew 21:22. Whatever you ask for in prayer with faith, you will receive. Matthew 21:22. An opening prayer. Let's just take a moment to just relax and simply be here now. There is only one time, there is only one moment, and that moment is now. There is no past, there is no future, there is only the present moment. It is the only place where we can act and make a difference. And so we just give thanks and praise for the awareness of who we are spiritually, the power that we wield in our own respective worlds, and the consciousness to be spiritually attuned to God at every moment of every day. And we just thank you, God, for the lesson tonight. I thank you for just working through me, and whatever it is that you want to bring, I'm open. I'm willing for you to express through me in whatever way you want to. And I thank you for the right words to touch your people's hearts. I thank you for the right conversation that moves the needle for everyone in their lives. I thank you that we leave this space more prosperous, more alive, alert, and tuned into you, God. And I thank you, God, that when this is all done, the attention is not on me, but it is on you. In the name and nature of Jesus the Christ, we affirm that it is so, and so it is. And amen. So why prayer matters? So the question that we're working with today is, have you ever wondered whether wanting more is spiritually okay? And really, have you struggled with that? And if I'm just full transparency, I have. And so what prayer and why prayer matters is because it can help you discern your righteous desires. It can help you discern your righteous desires. So one of the things that I have worked with is being okay with having a lot of money. Just putting it out there. That is not an area that I have excelled at. There are people who are very comfortable with it, and I think I am finally clear on some level that that is an area where I work. I work with being okay, being prosperous. And I cannot tell you exactly where that comes from or when I developed the challenge with not having enough, but it is something that that I personally work with. And so what prayer can help you do is to dissolve those blocks. So if you are unemployed, underemployed, but just generally don't have your needs met in whatever way, it doesn't, you could be bringing in millions of dollars but still be $1,000 short of whatever it is that you need. So it's still a lack consciousness. And so I want to say that this is not about like the amount of money that you bring in, but it is about your relationship with whatever money comes in. And so what prayer can help you do is to dissolve those blocks. In order to participate in the flow of the universe, in order to participate in the abundance, there must be an agreement that you can have abundance. If you look at the way that God does anything, God is infinitely abundant. The universe is replete with plenty at every level. You can look at the number of trees. If you just go outside your house and count the leaves where you live, you may not even live in a lush green area. But if you just count the leaves in your yard, you might only have one tree. If you just count the leaves on your one tree, you would lose count. If you count the leaves on your block, you would lose count. It's just everything that God does is done in a lavishly abundant way. And that lavish abundance is the character of every manifestation. There are, and I always cite this because I think it's like, if I were God, this feels like overkill, right? And I'd be like, hey, you could cool it on the bees. But there are like 20,000 or 20 or 20,000, 20 or 23,000 different species of bee. Not 20,000 bees, because that's a lot of bees, right? But there are 23,000 different species of bees. There are 2,000 different species of roses. There are 11,000 different species of moths. I think that's the one where I was like, all right, God, you could, one species is enough, because one moth eating you out your clothing is enough to send you through the roof. All right, so the fact that there are 11,000 different ones that can eat your clothes up, all right, God, you're doing a lot. You're doing the most. My point is that everything that the Spirit does is just lavish abundance. When you look at the stars in the sky, lavish abundance, and it's billions upon billions of stars. Galaxies. This is not the only galaxy. The planet we're on is not the only planet. It's like everything that God does is lavishly abundant, and so it's learning to be okay with having more than enough, I think, is an important spiritual service that you do for yourself, but also for the world. And so what prayer can help you do is to just begin to dissolve those blocks that interfere with your prosperity. And so if you do not have enough money to live on, whatever form that's taking, whether your livelihood is covered by your spouse, let's say, but there's not enough, still the same thing, right? It's that I am in a situation where my needs are not being met, and when I come up at the end of the month, there's more month than there are resources to meet the needs. And so the blocks that are there, I mean, you could go back and you could, pick apart, your childhood and what you learned from your mama and what you learned from your daddy. Or you could simply pray and ask for a dissolution of whatever is in the way of your prosperity. You could simply ask for it. Like what is in the way? And so that is an important piece of work to do. And I'll put that out to you guys. I don't know what things you work with. I don't know if this is an area. Perhaps I'm the only one that works with it. Andrea says, "I love that courageous choice, reaching for that dream." Alita says, "Can't wait until service is recorded." Me too. Having enough, prayer is one of those areas that you can work with, being okay with having enough. Some people, I know someone who shared with me that growing up, she never wanted to seem like she always had more than everybody that she was around, and so she didn't want to stand out for those reasons, and so she became uncomfortable with having more. So she was always but that's still the same thing, right? Just a different side of the same coin. That I have more, but I'm uncomfortable with it because I don't want other people to feel a certain way about the fact that I have more than them. It's just a different side to the same issue, and the prayer can help you begin to get comfortable, to realize that the character of the universe is abundance. The character of the universe is more than enough to spare and to share. Alita says, "So if I don't have enough, there's lack in my consciousness." Yeah. Belief in lack. There's no lack in your consciousness. It's just being filled by something else. But there's a belief that there's not enough. The belief that there's not enough. And so what you have the ability to do is to dissolve that through prayer. Mia says, laughing my butt off at saying God is doing the most about the moths. Yes. Yes. Hi, Mia. She says, "Greetings, everyone." Yeah. So desire is good. And, you know, I don't know how you guys were raised. I was raised Southern Baptist, and desire was not good. And many theologians try to stamp out desire. You know, these are just some of the verses. I have more on the blog post, but, you know, those who are greedy for unjust gain make trouble for their households. The greedy person stirs up strife. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Um, you know, they it's a misquote, but they would say money is the root of all evil, and then they would fix it. They said, well, you know what? It's the love of money that's the root of all evil. But either way, money or the love of it is associated with evil, and there is this heavy emphasis that like wanting is bad. Wanting is bad. And what I want to support you in, and in growing past, and support myself as well, not just you, me, is in letting that idea go. Letting the idea go that desire is bad. That you cannot develop the idea of stamping it out is that if you can't get to greed if you don't want anything. But the truth is that it's impossible not to want. It's impossible. The nature of the soul is to reach for something more. That's the nature of the soul. Whatever it is that you have, if you get a piece of clothing or a car or a home or a spouse or whatever, that there is this reach for that there's a point at which you are satisfied, and then there's a point at which it is you're wanting something more. And so what you learn to do in relationships is to learn how to keep the relationship alive beyond just that initial want of the person. And there are all kinds of things that help you do it, but the thing is that there's this inherent reach in the soul for something more. And that's not to say that you should reach for a new relationship, but there is a continual reinvention of the relationship that you're in. Reverend JJ says, doesn't Buddhism say something about desire being the cause of all suffering? Yeah, that's something in every religious system. I know we love Buddhism, and I love Buddhism, but it's still the same thing. Is that desire is bad, right? Desire causes suffering. Andrew says, one of the things that has helped me is the understanding that all we really want is more of God as prosperity in our lives. Oh, hey, Constance. She said, presently at Unity Village, and time is a little behind. Glad to have you. I know you're there. Have fun. Right now, for those of you that don't know why I'm all excited, there are a group of people from the Universal Foundation for Better Living who are in Unity Village right now for Johnny Coleman Day, and also a dedication of a plaque, right, Constance? A dedication of a plaque to Reverend Johnny Coleman. And so this is a really exciting time. They sold out on the number of people going. If you have been on Facebook and you follow Reverend Galen or anybody else who's there, people have been Facebook living the presentation and the talks and things like that, and so it's just wonderful. And so yay, they're there. I'll be in that area soon in October, speaking with a group of folks with Mark Hicks and Truth Unity for the Metaphysical Bible Gathering. So yay, very cool, very, very cool. Quintina says, saw it stream live yesterday. Yay! Mia says, exactly. We naturally crave to evolve in order to adapt. Yeah. The thing is that desire is not bad. And now, here's the thing, that when we are not spiritually awakened, there is a desire, but the desire is for the thing. Let me back up. See how I can explain this. When we are not spiritually awakened, We are reaching for something, and we think the something is the answer. So let's say this represents a car. Now, spiritually, the car represents security, transportation, all of these intangible ideas. It could represent luxury, peace of mind, a lot of things, right? That's what I'm reaching for. Being spiritually awakened is knowing that even that I'm asking for a car, I'm asking for the manifestation of those things in the form of a car. Being spiritually asleep means I think that the answer to those things comes in the form of the car. That makes sense. And so I'm never satisfied because I'm always reaching for something, looking for it to do what only God can do. Hopefully this will get clearer as we go. And I'm working with it in my soul so I can like say it in a way that makes sense. But you're reaching for the thing, thinking that the thing is the answer. And waking up spiritually is realizing that the thing is not the answer in totality, that it solves an immediate problem, but that I have the ability to shape and reshape the energy of God into whatever I need it as. And so if right now what I needed as is a car, then I can have that. But I'm never thinking that the car is going to fulfill every desire in my life. Just like that I'm not going to be happy when I get a relationship. I'm either happy now or I'll never be happy when the relationship comes. Or that I'm going to be happy when my house is paid off. No, either I'm happy now or I'll never be happy when the house is paid off, because there'll always be something new. That I'm not looking for the thing to change my state of consciousness and my feeling. That I am that I'm able to separate the things from believing that they bring me something that only God can bring. All right. Hopefully that can get a little bit more clear. Mia says the car is the channel assisting you in accomplishing those things, or the vessel. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, exactly.
Reverend Sherri,
Uh, yes, go ahead.
I was just going to say it's just like uh, when somebody, say just a relationship, and this person over here says, oh yeah, I like that person, and I'm going to have that person who belongs with someone else. Uh, that's the same thing, except you have to realize that just not the person you actually want, because the person is not fixed for you, because it's fixed for that person. What you want is that essence of what they have, not
Right.
so much the person, but but the person thinks they want the person, and no sooner they get the person, they can't have it because it
And
wasn't
they can't
designed
stand
for
them.
them. Yeah, they can't stand them. It wasn't designed for them.
Right. Yes. That's exactly it. That's exactly it, is that you go for the thing and you think the thing is what you want, but what you really
Mm-hmm.
want is the essence of what the thing represents.
Right.
And so, what prayer can help you do is to begin to discern what that's about. That as you work with God, with whatever it is that you desire, it is, God, what does this house represent for me? Well, this house represents security. So then as you begin to affirm security in your life, the house comes and everything else that represents security comes. So that sometimes we want the thing and we get locked on the thing itself, and so we close off other blessings because we're going for the thing as opposed to the essence of the thing itself. And again, it seems like a fine line, and it may seem like semantics if you're new to this, and I assure you that it is not. Ray says, it always amazes me when I hear televangelists talk about the evils associated with desires. Where are these people coming from? A misunderstanding of Scripture. Yeah. I well, again, there is unrighteous desire, meaning desire where I want a car because I'm trying to one up my neighbor, or I want to be the one at the church with the best car, right? So there is a such thing as unrighteous desire. But there's also such thing as righteous desire, which is that I need a car. I prefer a luxury car, right? I prefer a car that comes with an umbrella, like a Rolls Royce. That's a righteous desire. There's nothing wrong with the desire. So the question is, where is the desire coming from? Is the desire coming from a place that believes that the thing is going to do something for you that you don't already have? Is the car going to now make you feel richer? Because if it does, cars break down, cars get stolen, cars, well, they depreciate the moment you roll them off the lot. No matter how much money you spent for it, they'll say, "Oh, this car holds its value." No, it doesn't. No, the minute you put 2 miles on it, you can no longer sell it for the price that you bought it for. You may be able to, it may depreciate slower than other cars, but the value of it depreciates. So again, it's taking the desire in prayer, not wanting luxury things, not wanting to wear Gucci doesn't relieve you of the need to wear clothes. Not wanting to drive a Rolls Royce does not relieve you of the need for transportation. So it's not the thing. I saw something today. It was talking about the 8 pastors. Was it today? Maybe it was another day. But it was like 8 pastors whose net worth is several times that of their congregation, and they had different ministers and like what they're worth financially and like what the average person average salary in their congregation. And again, not speaking on anybody's ministry because I don't know what's going on in anybody else's ministry other than my own. But what I can say is that the wealth that you have is a function of your consciousness. The wealth that you have is a function of your consciousness. And so you must develop the consciousness to have what it is that you want. And you got to get okay with having what you want. Now, like I said, I don't know what the people that were highlighted are necessarily teaching their congregation. I don't think they're teaching their congregation that it's wrong to have. I don't think that that's the case, not based on some of the sermons that I've seen from the people. But the point is that you've got to get okay with having for yourself. You've got to get okay with having for yourself, and desire is good. And if there's a place where you're questioning the desire that's in your heart, it's to simply take it to God in prayer. Andrew says, this is an area that I am working on myself. I have to work on accepting the very good that God has prepared for me. Lita says, me too, Andrea. Yes, that's it. I affirm I am open and receptive to my good. Yes, 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 yes. It's just getting okay with it. Mia said, what's the root of the intention? That's a great question. What's the root of the intention? So this next piece that I have for you guys, I pulled this from the Revealing Word. And so this is the truth about desire. Desire is an expression of the inmost being of man. Desire is an expression of the inmost being of man. No matter what it is that you want, Michael Beckwith says it this way: back of every human aberration is a spiritual aspiration. No matter what it is that you want physically, there is always a spiritual impulse driving it. And your ability to separate out the human part of it, the part that is trying to keep up with the Joneses, or the part that's trying to meet a spiritual need with a physical thing, is the degree to which you are awake spiritually. But every expression, every desire is an expression of the deepest part of yourself. Every desire is an expression of the deepest part of yourself. Another way that they define it is that it's the onward impulse of an ever-evolving man, and man being generic, not just male, but female as well. It is the onward impulse of an ever-evolving man. And so it's possible that you want a relationship because you are lonely, right? But even the desire to not be lonely, back of that is a spiritual impulse, and it's the spiritual impulse for connection. It's the spiritual impulse for connection. And so as you wake up, it's to realize that it's not, that I can have connection without having a relationship, and that I can begin to foster connection in my life, whether a relationship comes or not. And the degree to which I genuinely foster connection opens a door in my heart for the relationship to come. So it isn't that it's wrong to want a relationship just because you're lonely, but it is to realize what's the spiritual impulse back of what I want. Well, the spiritual impulse back of what I want is that I want connection. I want that as human beings, we are wired to connect with one another, and I want genuine connection. Well, I can have that genuine connection, and the more I foster that in my experience, the more I open myself up to it in the exact ways that I want it. And so my connection may start with simply connecting with coworkers, no longer being that island that that keeps to myself. And so I get in there and I get connected to people, and I start to give and share in those relationships. And then lo and behold, a coworker invites me to her home, and the person person that I'm meant to spend my life with is at the coworker's party at her house. Again, it's that when you get to the spiritual impulse back of it, what you realize is the need is already there and can be met with present resources. And as you begin to meet it with present resources, all the other ways that it can be met begin to open up for you. And so you are never cut off from God. You are never cut off from your needs being met. And you begin to open up and express in a brand new way. This is what's possible. And this is why desire is not bad. What you do have to get clear on is believing that you don't have, right? So dealing with that feeling of loneliness, right? And saying, okay, what is this about? Or dealing with the feeling of insignificance, because no one wants to feel insignificant. Dealing with the feeling of insignificant, right? Insignificance. And so that is a need to contribute. So it may press out this way, right? That I want to be famous. But really what you want is the spiritual impulse back of it. It may be different for each person, but the spiritual impulse back of it is that contribution. Right? I want to make a difference in somebody's life, right? I don't want to be famous, right? I want fame because of what it means, right? It means that I am important to somebody. Well, the way that you get to be important to somebody is that you contribute, right? You know how I'm important to Jordan? You know why when I come to that daycare, he's like, Ma! You know why he's like that? Because I contribute. I wipe his butt. I feed him. I put some clothes on him. I make sure he has enough food, right? You can do that for somebody. And I don't mean just your child, but perhaps you have a heart for women who are in shelters and are escaping abusive relationships. So it's not the fame that you're seeking, it's the sense of contribution. And so you got to take time to discern what's the spiritual impulse back of what I want. Because the spiritual impulse back of what I want is good, and that's where I put my attention. Naomi says good stuff, i.e. the spiritual impulse back of your desires. Thanks, definitely something to chew on. Yes. Okay, desire does not equal greed. So I feel like we've hit that. I don't think there are any questions on it. I think you guys got it. Desire does not equal greed. A normal desire for increased good is not to be condemned or suppressed. It is divine. And so as you wake up spiritually, as you work with God in prayer about what it is that you want, the question you ask, right? The question you ask is, what is the spiritual impulse back of this desire? And if you ask it, there's no question you can ask that God won't tell you what it's about. And so if it's a desire for fame, or if it's a desire for money, or if it, whatever it is, it's not to say that you shouldn't have those things. It's like, what's back of this? Well, I want to make a difference in people's lives. I feel like if I had, fame, if more people knew who I was, then I would be able to have a greater impact. That I'd be able to influence more people. Okay, great. So it's a desire for contribution, and it's a desire for giving. And so those are things I can do right now. I don't need to be famous to give, and I don't need to be famous to contribute. And so I start right where I am. I start right where I am. And so reveal to me, Father, the righteous desire, right? So the desire is I want to be famous, right? But what's the righteous desire back of it? Well, really what I want is I want to make a difference in people's lives. I want to know that what I do makes life better for somebody other than just my immediate family or just for myself. Okay, that I can do, right? I can start right where I am right now and make a difference in the people around me. And to start to add value to the people's lives that I touch right now. Though that's something I can do right now. Ray says, I would love to have a discussion on the God ideas behind desires. Well, we can do that right now. Oh, okay. Well, Constance just explained it. The God ideas such as life, love, power, wisdom, substance. Yes, that's exactly it. So it is to starting to look and say, okay, what is it that I want, right? I'll say for myself, I want a house with at least 6 bedrooms, and because I want a room that's just dedicated to my office. I want a room that's just dedicated to Jordan's space. I want a room that's just dedicated to be my home gym because I don't feel like going to the gym to work out. I want, so that's 3 rooms. It was 4. I want a room that is my meditation room, which is different from my office. So that's 4. And if I got with the other, I think maybe there's children in the other 2 or something like that. But okay, those are the physical things. But back of that is really comfort, right? I want a sense of comfort. I don't want to feel like everything is just crowded up in one space, right? Well, I have comfort right now, and I can begin to reach for the areas where I have comfort right now and affirm the comfort in my space right now. It does not mean that the desire for the 6-bedroom house is not righteous, right? Because I get to define what the good in my life looks like. But I don't think that my comfort is waiting on the 6-bedroom house to get there. And the degree to which I affirm and bless and praise the comfort in my life is the degree to which I swiftly move towards having my ultimate, if you will, definition of comfort. So it's praise the way that the thing that you want, the spiritual qualities that you want, are showing up right now. How is companionship showing up in your life right now? It may show up in the form of you caring for a parent or caring for a sibling or a loved one, right? That may be the way that you're experiencing connection right now. Praise that, right?
But
And so, go ahead.
I was going to ask Reverend Sherry, what if uh, your desire is not necessarily for you, but for someone else?
Okay, okay. We're going to get to that. Let me take what Andrea
Okay.
has because I'm coming to what you just asked just next.
Hmm.
Andrew says this helps to be understanding with each other when a brother and sister seems to be crying out in an undesirable. They do not understand the spiritual idea back of the desire. Exactly, exactly. Okay, so to your point, Linda, which is what brings us to the next one, which is how to manage your desire for more, bless others. That it is. I mean, we should be doing this anyway. We literally. And I did this. And I shared this with you guys last week in a different way, talking about the journals that I used to keep at my job. And this job, I would come in and I would literally write out blessings for anybody that came to mind, but generally people that were in my workspace. So my coworkers, the donors that I talked to, the owner of the company, I would just write out blessings in the form of prayers for everybody there. It broke the atmosphere, and all of a sudden I was promoted one after another, after another, after another, after another. So what you can do for someone, and I know that that me blessing that space prospered that space. Because it's impossible for it not to. I know that the blessings that I wrote for that company blessed that company as well as blessed me. So it changed and some of the ways that I'm aware of is that it changed the working environment of, hold on, let me go back. It changed the working environment. Oh no. Okay. There we go. It changed the working environment of the people that I work with. And there were people who came to me who said, that being in this department where you are has made this job tolerable. That this is a harsh environment, and being here, this made this job doable. So you blessing somebody else works. Those prayers I prayed for coworkers worked. Uh, Judy says, now I send blessings and love ahead to my office every morning. Yes, honey, I come in like a blessing train. Well, how can I bless you today? Let me use the power that I have to make your life better. This is from the Message Bible, but it says it's Proverbs 11:25. The one who blesses others is abundantly blessed. What you bless blesses you. What you bless blesses you. If you make a point, you can just try this out. Just do it. Just take a 30-day challenge, because that's my favorite type of challenge. Take a 30-day challenge and write out blessings for, let's say, your coworkers, or let's say your family or your church or whatever, right? But be pointed with it. Don't make it general. Be pointed with it, like your church or like some specific environment that you're in on a consistent basis. And just write out blessings every day for it. And I like the writing out, but you could speak them aloud too. It doesn't have to be written. And see what happens. Test it. Try the Spirit. Try God. See what happens. What you give out must come back. No exceptions. What you give out must come back. And I experienced that. Like I said, at the time, it was what I was trying to do was to not sink emotionally by being told no from the donors who didn't want to give when I called. That was my intent. My intent was I need to be able to keep my energy up, because this is a sales job, and you've got to be enthusiastic when it comes to sales. So how do I keep my energy up? Well, okay, I can take my mind somewhere else mentally in between these phone calls so that I don't get caught up on the no that I was just given. Well, the byproduct of that and the lesson that I learned is that the blessings that I wrote not only blessed me in terms of the job, but blessed everybody around me. So you have the ability to do that, and just try it. Just see. Try it. I'm willing to dare somebody. I'm willing to dare somebody to spend 30 days blessing some specific area of their life, a job, their family, their church, a group that they're with. Let's say a group. In fact, choose something that's not your favorite thing. Choose, like, I'm not in this club anymore, but the investment club that I was in. These were some hard women. Like, I don't know if life was hard on them, but they were hard on me. So, and just bless and pray for them, and write the prayers out, and make them elaborate. Make them good prayers where it stirs up the feeling inside of you about them, in a good way, and see what happens. I triple dare you. How to manage your desire for more. Bless yourself. Bless yourself. To be a suitable vessel for Spirit to flow. Bless yourself. The thing is that you are the energy by which Spirit flows into the universe, right? You're the vehicle. If God is going to do something, it's going to be your hands and feet that make it happen. And we have guarded so fervently against developing a spirit of greed that we have forgotten to bless ourselves. And so leave nothing out. Bless your body, every organ you got. No matter, blessing what you have does not keep you anchored to what you do not want. It stirs up the spiritual energy, and it does one of two things. It either turns what you have into what you genuinely want, or it gently removes what you don't want so that you can make space for something better to fill its place. And so you want to be a suitable vessel for spirit to flow. A suitable vessel for spirit to flow. And so blessing yourself is part of that process. I watched Della do this with her own body, and I've shared this story before, that when she broke her leg in two places and her shoulder, I watched her praise her body back to health. And so you can begin to praise your body. If there's an area of your body, you know, well, I've never shared publicly with y'all, but you know, I've worked with feelings about my body, right? And so it's to begin to praise your body, whatever's your trouble area. Maybe you've got issues with your arms. Praise those arms, whatever they look like. It's like, you know what, all this under here, I praise you, right? Wherever, maybe you got issues with your neck. Praise your neck. Whatever your thing is, praise your eyes. People think your eyes have to, quote unquote, get bad, you know, when you grow older. No, they don't. No, they don't. You can praise every aspect of your body and encourage the flow of God through it. And so just begin to talk to your body. I praise you. I give thanks for you. I love you. You are wonderful. Thank you for being there. Thank you, God. Thank you. And allow that energy to shift and shape and change. You know, part of why your body looks the way that it does is because of the way that you regard your body right now. See, you think praising your body is just going to make you okay with your body looking the way that it does. But that's not how praise works. One or two things is going to happen. Either you will get comfortable with the way that your body looks and you will genuinely want it to look the way that it looks, or, hello, you will praise it and those extra 10 pounds will go away. That's how it works. That's how and I'm willing to have it. I don't know about you. I'm willing to have it. Andrea says, I have learned to bless every encounter and meeting ahead of time before I get there. It works. Constance says, can you share the PowerPoint? I would love to share this with the women at Living Truth Center. Yes. I will do that. Absolutely. Ray says, powerful, powerful lesson tonight. We have been blessed. Thank you, guys. Thank you. How to manage your desire for more. Bless your work. I saw this. This doesn't really say what I wanted to say, but I love this little graphic. It said GROW. The acronym for GROW means God rewards our work. This is the thing about your work, is that your work, no matter what it is that you do, and it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter whether you're an entrepreneur or you're working in somebody else's company, it expresses your faith. Sorry. No matter what it is that you do, it expresses your faith. That's the thing. And so what you want to do is to bless it, right? And it's your work contributes to the forward expansion of the universe. You're either doing it in the form of living your dream or helping somebody else live their dream. But it doesn't matter, because the quickest way to get what you want is to help somebody else get what they want. So bless your place of employment. Give thanks that you have something positive to contribute to somebody else's dream. If you will persist in this kind of attitude, giving cheerfully of your talent and your time, you will pave the way for you to begin to live your own dream. So do not be afraid to support the expression of somebody else's dream. We do not get by taking, we get by giving. We do not get by taking, we get by giving. Your work, no matter what kind of work you do, expresses your faith. And so when you show up giving your best, even if it is to support somebody else's dream, do it as if it is supporting your own dream, because in reality it is. How to manage your desire for more? Tithe. Tithe, tithe, tithe. Tithing is not magic, period. When you tithe, you systematically work the law of giving and receiving. Any practice that has been handed down, this is a quote from Catherine Ponder, any practice that has been handed down through the centuries as tithing has been, must have great importance. Tithing is not, so I got to go back to, tithing is not magic. It's not magic because the law of giving and receiving works, right? And the way that you work it is to work it. You cannot outgive God, right? It's an impossibility. You can't. And so if you will commit to tithe, that what you will begin to do is to systematically touch the law of giving and receiving, because that's what tithing is. It is that every time you receive income, you tithe 10%, and tithe is a tenth. You tithe 10% on the gross. And the thing is that then sets in motion another cause. It sets in motion another cause that's going to produce an effect. And so every time you get more income, you tithe, right? And it's this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth process. And so you are systematically working the law of giving and receiving. It's not magic. But what it also does is that it puts you in partnership with God. It recognizes that there is, I didn't get what I've got by my effort alone. That there were people that were brought into my experience that I could not have seen or foreseen who were going to be instrumental. And the only way for them to get to me is for the energy of God inside of me to attract them to me. One of the things that's happening right now is a wonderful gift that we're receiving at Up Church. Gina Davis, who is an incredible corporate coach. I highly recommend working with her. She is as a gift to the church and a tithe of her talent, helping us with developing our strategic plan. So her company is True Synergy, so I do want to shout her out. Her company is True Synergy. So she has been a remarkable gift to us. We tithe as a church, as Up Church, we tithe to the UFBL. We tithe to UFBL because we do not believe that we are getting to where we are on our own, that we are supported by people who come and do things like that. Where we are as a church, we could not pay for the services that she is offering right now. It's just physically where we are. It would be a financial stretch for us to pay for those kinds of services right now. So her gift to us is, yes, that is her tithe of her talent, but it is also the recognition that this is God sending us resources, right? And this is one of the ways that God has chosen to bless us. And so we tithe as an acknowledgement of our partnership with God. That as we tithe, the blessings are coming back to us in the form that we need it. We need help laying out our strategic vision. The means for that to happen is coming back. So you're in partnership with God. My teacher, Reverend Mary, would say, give where you eat spiritually. It takes money to do God's business in the world. And give to the place that has fed you. If you want the lights on when you get back, right, then you've got to put something in the plate. If you want to make sure that when you might be traveling, right, make sure that your church has your tithe. Don't go away and think that, okay, it'll just be there when I get back. You may come back and find that, hey, it was your donation that would have made the difference in keeping the lights on. And so if you travel, even when you leave, you make sure that your church has your tithe. You make sure that where you get spiritually fed is cared for. Just like even if you go out of town and you go on vacation, there's no break on your light bill, right? Glendale Water and Power doesn't say, "Oh, Sherri, you were in Chicago a couple of weeks ago. We're not going to charge you for electricity for that week." No, guess what? That bill is still due. Well, it's the same thing with your church, with where you are spiritually fed. So please make sure that where you are spiritually fed is receiving your support, because it takes money to do God's business in the world. And I thank God for Reverend Mary, who taught me that level of transparency with doing the business of church and not teaching tithing as magic. Because some people will teach it to you as like magic, like God's not going to bless you if you don't tithe. That's a lie. God blesses you no matter what, because that's just what God does. You're not blessed or unblessed because you tithe or don't tithe. So there are no blessings withheld if you don't tithe. And you are giving to a spiritual institution that supports you, and your exchange with it is that you're sharing with it. But you're not blessed less or more because you tithe to a church. What kind of God is that? All right, y'all, time to do something. Are you still struggling to be okay with wanting things? I hope this lesson tonight has helped you. Take your desires to God in prayer and ask for discernment. What do you struggle to be okay with wanting? More money? A satisfying love relationship? Leave me a comment on the YouTube video for this lesson. Let me know how tonight's lesson landed with you. Okay, Q&A. Questions? Comments? No questions, no comments. All right. Thank you guys for tonight. Constance, I'll send you that email when I finish with the PowerPoint. Uh, awesome. Thank you guys. Have a great night. Next week, we start with this book, The Handbook of Positive Prayer. And we will start with the first lesson, which is the how and why of positive prayer. The how and why of positive prayer. So there's a link in the email that I sent that if you need the link to find it on Amazon. But Hypatia Hasbrook, I'm trying to hold that steady. Hypatia Hasbrook is the author's name, and it is the Handbook of Positive Prayer. And so we'll start with this next week. And then I have some other supplemental material when we wrap that we're going to do with Neville Goddard. So we'll close the series with Neville, who is awesome. But next we're going to deal with Hypatia Hasbrook. All right, the Handbook of Positive Prayer, and read chapter 1, which is only, well, according to my book, it is pages, oh, it's a lot, 9 to 23. So, well, it's a couple pages there. All right. If you are interested in joining us live and you want to be in this little film strip here, if you go to revsherri.com, there's a button that says Become an MBH Insider, you'll be on that list. And I send out free goodies every week, and so you'll get the free goodie that I send out every Tuesday, loosely every Tuesday. Sometimes it comes out on Wednesday. Alita says, what are we going to do with Neville? We're going to just eat him up. We're going to look at what he talks about with prayer at the end of the series. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a good night, guys. Bye.